All right, the final example I'm going to show today is example 5. It's called a rational equation. We dealt with these towards the middle to end of Algebra 2. And they started off with just x's on the bottom. They graduated up to these with x plus 2, x minus 3, or whatever, just binomial structures on the bottom. And when you're looking at a rational equation, your goal is to get rid of the fractions. And what makes it rational is this. 1x over 2, no big deal. That's over 2. But when x's end up in the denominator, now we're in the rational equation structure. Okay? The first thing you want to deal with is excluded values. What is x not allowed to equal? It's very easy to find out. Anything that makes the bottom equal to 0 is a bad answer. So looking at this, what makes x minus 3 equal 0?
3.
3. What makes x minus 2 equal 0? 2. And this x minus 3 also 3, right? So if x equals either 3 or 2, we're going to be looking at an undefined equation. Because you have division by 0 mathematically is undefined. It's not allowed to happen. So that's job 1 in a rational equation. Identify answers that aren't allowed to happen. I'll show you how to handle it should they show up. They don't show up very often because it's hard to make an equation like that has those as answers. But it is possible to do it. It's just hard. I want to say it might happen on your quiz. I think I spent a little extra brain cells making sure that one of the problems on the quiz had an excluded value end up as one of the answers.
So would it be 50 then?
But it depends. I'll show you the scenario. So, but anyway, it's not going to happen in this one, but I just want you to know that that's job 1 on a rational equation. Identify values of x that are bad, so if they show up, you know to throw them out. All right. Once you've established that, now we want to get rid of the fractions. Okay, the common denominator is simply the product of all the different types of denominators. In this case, x minus 3 times x minus 2. Now, the step I'm about to write down here, I'm going to recommend to all of you that you do this step. You won't want to do it. You'll think it's a waste of your time. Oh, I can do this in my head, Mr. Klein. I don't want to do this. But I promise you, do this step I'm about to show you. It goes like this. X minus 3 cancels x minus 3. Leave me with 5 times x minus 2. Write 5 parentheses x minus 2. Don't write 5x minus 10. Write 5 parentheses x minus 2. Get the fractions gone first, then get rid of the parentheses. That would be this product. Moving on to this product. X minus 2 cancels x minus 2, leaving me with minus 3 times x minus 3. And then this times this, the x minus 3's cancel, leaving me with equals positive 4 times x minus 2. Here's the reason why you want to write this step. Specifically for the green piece. Right here. The minus sign in front of the 3 is going to distribute through, and if you can't see that with your eyes, your brain sometimes forgets there's a minus times a minus makes a plus 9. So write this step in so you can very easily see positive number or negative number in front distributing through. You're much more likely to get the right simplified structure here. So that gives me 5x minus 10. This gets me minus 3x plus 9 equals 4x minus 8. More often than not, people who don't want to skip this step here and will go straight to here, a lot of times you'll get it right, but occasionally you'll have the wrong sign on that specific term there. All of a sudden everything goes haywire, it doesn't work, and you're like frustrated because you don't know how to do math anymore, even though you do. So be careful. Include this step here. It would be better for you. Now once we got to this point, you can go ahead and start solving right away. I personally like to simplify one more step. These guys have like terms in them, so I'm going to do that. 5x minus 3x is 2x. Negative 10 plus 9 is minus 1 equals 4x minus 8. So what's left to do is move the 2x to one side and the 8 to the other side. The reason I chose to move 2x instead of 4x, I always like to move my smaller coefficient variable term. That includes sign, so 2 is smaller than 4. If that were negative 4 is smaller than 2, so you move that. I like my variable term to be positive. So move the smaller variable term, 4x minus 2x is 2x. Negative 1 plus 8 is equal to 7. We divide both sides by 2. X equals 7 halves. Notice 7 halves is neither 3 nor 2, right? Which means it's a fine answer and there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, real quick before we finish this up, let me just give you some scenarios that could happen. Let's say we're doing a rational equation problem. We've got an excluded list of x is not allowed to equal 1 or 3. Okay? And we go through and solve the problem. We end up with x is equal to 0, 2, and 3. All right, let's say we get 3 answers out of it, all right, which is possible, all right? 1 and 3 are the bad numbers. Notice 3 is one of our bad numbers, right? So if that happens, strike it out, there's your answers. The answers that aren't allowed to be answers are thrown out. The answers that are allowed to be answers stay answers. Everything's fine with that, okay? Here's another scenario. X is not allowed to be 1 or 3 again, let's say. Let's say we get X equals 3. All right, the only answer we got was 3. All right, that's not allowed to be 3, right? So we cross it off, we're left with nothing, so that gets us an empty set. All right, so that's the 2 scenarios that can come up when you have excluded values. The excluded value is part of a list. You throw out just the excluded value, the rest of the list is fine. Or the excluded value, the list is only the excluded value or values, and then you throw it out, everything's gone, so you get an empty set answer. This is the more likely scenario where you get multiple answers and one of them's bad, the other one's good, kind of thing. This could happen though. So keep that in mind. And again, for some reason, it's been a year since I gave that quiz, but I seem to think there's an excluded value on the quiz. It just seems to ring a bell like, hey, that might have happened. So be prepared for that. Look for it in the homework. It could happen. I can't remember if the ones I picked had it or not. I know at least 1 or 2 in the section should, so hopefully I picked one that did.
Good.